temperatures begin to cool down over the next couple of months, now autumn's arrived, now can be a fantastic time of the year to target pike. You'll notice that a lot of reservoirs have started to open up across the country, and it can also be a great time to get out on gravel pits as well and target pike with lures. In conjunction with the start of the autumn, Fox Rage have just released a whole new range of new lure fishing gear, so rods and especially lures, that we're going to try out today on one of my local gravel pits. We've got tons of water that we can cover here. The conditions are looking really good. It's a nice overcast day, and I'm hoping that we can put a couple of pike on the bank on some of the new lures from the Fox Rage range. We've just moved round to another corner of the lake that looks really fishy. Corners can be a great place to try because it's a place that often has a little bit more structure for prey fish to hide, and it's also a place where predatory fish can drive the bait fish into, and they've basically got them cornered. To cast some of the new lures in the range, such as the shallow trout replicant, I've been using one of the new rods from the brand new Prism X range. So this is the Prism X pike cast. It's 7'7" and it casts between 40 to 120 grams. So it's ideal for casting lures between 5 and 8 inches. I really like the length of this rod because I'm a big fan of using a longer rod for casting big lures for a couple of different reasons. Firstly, if you cast out at long range and you get a fish take your lure at long range, I find that by using a longer rod, which has a more through action than the shorter jerkbait style rod, you have a better chance of hooking the fish. The other reason is, if you get a fish close to the bank and it does a lot of head shaking, what can happen when you're using a shorter, heavier, pokier rod is that when the fish is thrashing around, what can happen is that the rod doesn't absorb the heavy head shakes. So by using a longer rod, I find that you can help control the fish a little bit better and steer it into the net. There is another reason why I would use a longer rod as well, and that's for fishing places that are quite overgrown. So I mean, this gravel pit that we're fishing today is a particularly overgrown one. I mean, even this swim would be quite hard to fish with a shorter rod, but because I've got that extra length, it helps me get over the bankside vegetation and I can control the lure a little bit better as well. The gravel pit we're fishing today is not a particularly deep one, so I've decided to start out with the shallow trout replicant. This is the 18 centimetre size, so it's a nice bite size for all sizes of pike, but there is also a 23 centimetre model as well when you want to target the real big ones. They come in 5 different colour options. 3 of those are in the new UV colours, and 2 of those are in the supernatural colour options as well. So this is one of them. This is the supernatural tiger trout colour, which has got a really nice red belly to it. Often black and red can be a fantastic colour combination for pike. The shallow trout, in a way, is quite similar to the shallow replicant, only it's got a much more streamlined body. Now, I'm sure it's going to be a winner on some of the big reservoirs, casting around in some of the shallow bays where a normal replicant would probably get down a bit too deep. It's got a big heavy paddle tail which displaces lots of water, and it's got the classic shallow replicant style with the wire through construction underneath. And some of these big gravel pits can be quite difficult places to fish at times. There aren't massive numbers of pike in here, and we've got to keep moving until we find the fish. So I've covered this swim now. I've done quite a few fan casts and not had a touch, so I think it's time to move on. In addition to the new shallow trout replicant, we've also got the new jointed trout replicant, which has a completely different action to it altogether. So what you've got here is not the classic swimming action of a paddle tail, but if I hold the lure on an angle like this and just shake it from side to side, it looks exactly like a small trout or any other silverfish swimming. As once you get past the main hook, the body is segmented into 4 sections, and it swims a lot like a jointed swim bait. Just like the shallow trout replicant, there are 2 sizes in the range, an 18 centimetre model and a 23 centimetre model. They're both quite a lot heavier than the shallow trout replicant, designed for fishing in deeper water. So the 18 centimetre model, which I'm holding here, is 110 grams, and the 23 centimetre model is 185 grams. The lure comes rigged with a big single hook coming out of the back, and underneath is a treble that is attached to a 360-degree rotational swivel. The jointed trout replicants come in 5 different colours, 3 that are in the UV range and 2 in the supernatural ranges. So the one I'm holding here is the supernatural trout, which is basically a 3D scan of a rainbow trout printed onto this, and it makes it look so real, it looks like I'm holding a fish. The jointed replicant is mostly designed for fishing in quite deep water, and we've just come to an area of the gravel pit that's slightly deeper than the rest of the lake. So I've just clipped this on, and I think I'm going to give this a try now and see whether this can put a fish on the bank. One of the new additions to the range that I'm really excited about is the new UV Super Slick Shad, which is basically the bigger brother of the Brilliant Slick Shad, one of my favourite shads for targeting perch and zander. It comes in 2 sizes, 18 and 23 centimetres, and 5 colours, all are UV colours, like the UV perch here. Just like its smaller brother, this is a very versatile lure, so it can be rigged on a jig head, like I've got it rigged up at the moment. I've just put a stinger on the back as well, so if I get any pike nipping at the lure, I can convert those takes into fish on the bank. Another way you can rig this as well is by rigging it Texas style. So just like the smaller slick shad, it's got a slot underneath the belly that's perfect for rigging an extra wide gape hook through. And that's going to come in really handy when you're fishing weedy venues, a little bit like the venue that we're fishing today. The new UV Super Slick Shad has quite a small paddle tail for its size. So if you compare it to something like the trout replicants, which we've just been looking at, if you have a look at the paddle tail on this Super Slick Shad, it's very thin and quite small, so it has a lot more subtle action and doesn't displace quite the same amount of water as the trout replicants, for example. However, by trying a lure with a slightly different action, especially on heavily pressured venues, that can often be the key to success. The smaller slick shads have been devastating for me recently for perch and zander, and I've got a good feeling that this one is going to be just as effective for pike. Well, on my very first cast in this swim, I had a really good hit on the shallow replicant trout. But I think what's happened today is that I've been using lures that are probably a bit too big. So what's happened is I've just changed to the 15 centimetre replicant realistic pike and had a few casts with that, and bang, I had a take from this fish. And it's great to get a fish on the bank after what's been a really tough day's fishing. I also decided to change to a duller colour as well, something a little bit more subtle compared to what I've been using over the course of the rest of the day. So I went for the real pike colour, which is about as natural as it gets in the replicant pike range. And yeah, just fished it on a slow, steady retrieve, and wallop, this fish took it. The last of the new lures in the Fox Rage range that I'm going to talk about today is the one that's saved the day today, and that is the new size of the replicant realistic pike, which is 15 centimetres. There are 3 colours in the range: supernatural pike, which is this one here, which has just caught the fish, and it's arguably the most realistic of all the colours, super hot pike, and supernatural wounded pike. Just like its bigger brother, it's got a big paddle tail that displaces a lot of water, and it's also a perfect lifelike replica of a tiny jack pike. Similarly to the jointed trout replicant, it's rigged with a big single hook that comes out of the back and a treble underneath that's rigged onto a 360-degree rotational swivel. Now, on a lot of my local gravel pits, surprisingly they haven't got a massive head of bait fish, and when there's not a big head of bait fish, the pike have got to turn to other things to eat. So that could be crayfish, that could be small ducklings swimming across the surface, and they could even turn cannibalistic as well. We all know pike are cannibals, and you know, they'll easily eat another pike. So on a venue like this is where the replicant realistic pike can really come into its own. So now that I've just changed to a smaller, duller lure and it's helped me pick up a fish, I think I'm going to stick with this for a little while longer and see if I can pick up one or two more along the way. Well, it's been a really tough day today and we've had to really work hard to put a fish on the bank. It took quite a few hours for that bite, but thankfully it was a nice fish, so it made the day worthwhile. I've had a great day using some of the new Fox Rage lures out this year, and I've also really enjoyed using the Prism X pike cast rod today. So check out the website www.foxrage.com to see all the new latest gear that's just come out on the market, and I'll catch you next time out on the bank.